Hello everybody, I'm Debra Sofia Magdalene from Mastery Path Connections, and today I am delighted to be interviewing for a second time the Reverend Michael Tyack. To be down here in the Glastonbury area, and when I'm down in this area it's always a good opportunity to connect with Michael because he's so knowledgeable about many different subjects.
Thank you.
And today we're going to be talking about the year 2025.
Yep.
And that's all I know.
That's all that Deborah knows. Well, I'm here. Well, I'll talk about an alchemical wedding, which is going to happen between every one of you and the year 2025, or the number 2025. And this can be explained through numbers. This glorious wedding, which we will all partake in when each one of us marries into the year 2025, when this year happens.
I'm intrigued when you say when we marry into it. What do you mean by that?
Well, we've got to almost sort of bind with it, because we don't know what's going to happen in this year. But this demonstration that I'm about to give I think it'll leave you in no doubt that something major is going to occur in 2025. Okay. Not in a scary sense, just in a factual sense. So you might as well get ready for some kind of wedding.
So is this like science-based?
It's beyond science. Science is just people faffing around with theories.
Yes.
This is pure number.
Yeah, Michael's a mathematician, and he's very, very clever when it comes to numbers.
Well, yeah, I'm not really a mathematician, but I love numbers. You know, just love adding up, taking away, multiplying and dividing, and that's about as far as I do, really. You know, that keeps me happy enough.
It's extraordinary what you can do with numbers. When I say what you can do, I mean what you can do with numbers.
Well, I love them so much that yeah, they speak to me. So let's get on with it. 2025.
I'm really excited.
It all comes in a little box. And here comes the answers.
The answers to the question that we haven't asked yet.
Well, you're all asking it. What about 2025?
Okay.
What about 2025? So what we have here is nested, a set of 9 cubes. And I'm sure that most of you viewers out there are quite aware that we live in a dream, that nothing's actually real, that we're dreaming everything, in a sense. And this dream is constructed by numbers, by like Fibonacci sequences, giving us, you know, life and shells and snails and galaxies. Flowers, yeah. So everything comes from number, and not least of all, time, which is something which we experience in this dimension. But when you go beyond this dimension, time is certainly not linear like we know it in this dimension. So we're just in a dimension, and this dimension is brought to us courtesy of the numbers 1 to 9. So what I've got here is a set of 9 nested cubes, and these represent the 9 distinct cycles of time. Time occurs in 9 distinct cycles. Okay, this is a theory, all right?
I've never heard that.
Yeah. So we started measuring time, years anyway, with the kind of birth of Christ, or the coming of the Christ consciousness. Yeah. So the whole world, we're pretty much wherever you are in the world, you're in the year 2020. There might be some distant corners where they measure time differently. But the general consensus is that this whole, you know, planet, whatever you want to call it, we're all in the year 2020. You know, what a fantastic numerical year this is. So the first cycle of time came from the number 9, and it comes from cubes. So everything to do with time is constructed out of cubes. So this is a 9 by 9 by 9 cube. So it has a total of 81 on each floor, and you add them all up and you've got 729 little cells, or in the case of time, these are years. So the first distinct cycle of time came from the number 9. This was a very long cycle, and it took us from the year 0 to the year 729 AD. So if you were alive in this period, which we probably all were, but if you remember being alive in this period, which not many of us probably do, time went very slowly, and you basically did what your father did, and what your father's father did, or what your mother did, or what your mother's mother did. There was very little new technology. So time went nice and slowly. Believe you me, it went slowly. The next distinct cycle of time to arrive in this dreamland which we inhabit came from the number 8. So this has got 8 by 8 by 8. So this cube descended, the 8 cube, and 8 by 8 by 8 is 512. So we add the 512 years to the 729 years, and it took us into the Middle Ages. It took us to the year 1241. So the year 1241, you kind of look back at what was happening. There was some extensive building projects going on, like Chartres, Notre Dame. These were almost finished. All the abbeys of Europe, Glastonbury Abbey, after the fire in 1184, this was, so 1241 was in the middle of Glastonbury Abbey being reconstructed. So there was a great deal of architecture happening, an architecture which we've never seen the like of since, and we'll probably never see the like of again, because it was absolutely divine architecture on a scale that we can't even comprehend. We don't really even know how they managed to build these cathedrals. They're just astounding. Yeah. So the year 1241, we can say that we had pretty much mastered architecture. Next, the next distinct cycle of time is a little bit shorter. Technologies are moving a little bit faster than they are now, because each distinct cycle of time gets compressed in the amount of years. So we had 729, 512. With the number 7, this was 343 years. So this takes us to the year 1584. And anyone who's a fan of the Elizabethan age will know what wonders happened, particularly in the 1580s. We had the formation of the British Navy. It was the flowering of language, with Shakespeare beginning and Marlowe introducing thousands of new words into the English language. And the Secret Service, John Dee, 007. But for this demonstration, we're going to concentrate on ships, because this is when we really had the sea power to go anywhere in the world. So the 1584, we'd pretty much got ships down to a T. We could go anywhere we wanted. Architecture, ships. The next distinct cycle of time comes from the number 6. And this 6 by 6 by 6 is 216. So this took us from the year 1584 to the year 1800. And in the year 1800, we were pretty much getting to find out what happens when you heat up water and you in compression, and you get steam. So we had the age of steam. So the first steam locomotive, Richard Trevithick, 1804. This kind of kicked off the industrial age. But for this purpose, we'll look at the year 1800 as the introduction of the train. So we had ships, and by 1800 we've suddenly got trains. Wow. So the next distinct cycle of time, time's getting more and more compressed. Time is speeding up. Okay, it comes from the number 5. So 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125 years. We add that to 1800 and it takes us to 1925. Technologies, we suddenly have the motor car and the aeroplane, cinema, radio. But now we're not only enjoying our cathedrals, traveling around the world in ships, riding around in trains, but now we've even got personal motor cars and aeroplanes. Where's it going?
This is what I'm wondering.
It's heading to an alchemical wedding. The number 4 brought us a cycle of time lasting 64 years. This took us from 1925 to 1989. So 1989 was a very special year because a lot of things happened in that year. The internet was invented. The first cell phones in America appeared in 1989. So you can see where I'm getting at. We're at another level of technology here. It was also, well, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the Tiananmen Square riots, the earthquake in San Francisco, and first episode of The Simpsons. But we'll just concentrate on, this was the birth of the internet. And
birth of my daughter as well.
And your daughter. Yeah, but a beautiful year, a powerful year. When you think about it, not a lot happened in 88, not a lot happened in 1990, but you look at 1989, big year marked by the arrival of the 4 cube. So then comes, oh my goodness, you know that time is speeding up. We all know it, but we don't know why. But this explains why. So the number 3 brought us the 3 by 3 by 3 cube. This is just 27 years. So 27 added on to 1989, that took us to 2016. And yeah, another pokey year. So 2016, we had Brexit, we had Donald Trump, big important year. But in terms of technologies, we had what they kind of call the Internet of Things, or the Internet of Dogs.
Aslan wants to talk to us.
I know. So even the dogs are panicking now. Yeah, we're not even entirely certain what this technology is, but we know that we're under a lot of surveillance now, and that everything is kind of, AI, something's happening anyway. It's another level to our basic emails, which internet and so forth.
Yeah.
Right, but at the moment we are zooming along because we're in the middle of this little fellow here, which is the 2 by 2 by 2 cube. So this cycle of time that we're in at the moment lasts for 8 years. So this is why we're having so many new technologies having to be crammed into this cycle of time.
When did this start?
This started 2016.
Okay.
So we're halfway through it now in 2020. And this ends, 2016 plus 8 is 2024. So this is going to take us to 2024. Right, and this is when we all have to get our posh clothes on. Well, 2024, we're not even quite aware of what technology was presented in 2016, but it's, it's complicated stuff. So when we get to 2024, we're going to have yet another world-changing level of technology or advancement in technology open to us. And I would probably suggest that this is something to do with our understanding of time and wormholes.
Do you mean from like a mass consciousness perspective? Like everybody will understand that time isn't linear?
Well, you can't expect everybody to,
Okay.
but I think, well, you know, we're not quite sure what's going to happen, but we know that we're in for, you know, a really exciting ride,
Yeah.
and that we've kind of reincarnated at this point to experience this.
It is exciting.
It is very exciting. You might think, oh, the 60s, 70s, great, but really now is what everybody should be thrilled to bits about, really, being here to experience.
And so what's this last one?
Well, this is just the number one. This is the 1 by 1 by 1 cube, which is 1. This is the last year. We've just had perhaps time travel thrust upon us. And this year, between 2024 and 2025, will be the most speedy, exciting year that mankind has ever known. And it takes us to 2025. So, well, if you add up the even numbers like 2, 4, 6, and 8, 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 is 20. And you add up the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, that makes 25. So you kind of see it when you add up the even numbers and the odd numbers, 20, 25. So the numbers 1 to 9, when you add them all up together, they come to 45. If you square 45, like 45 times 45 equals, it's showtime, 2025. So just by the presence of the numbers 1 to 9, they are screaming at us 2025. So this could be completely irrelevant, but the chances are it's not completely irrelevant.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
So how can we prepare for 2025?
I think keep positive, get ready for some big adventures, and yeah.
Hold on to your hats.
Hold on to your hats, get yourself a nice wedding dress, and get yourself some nice clothes. What else could you do to prepare for 2025?
So going back to what you said at the beginning about the marriage, how does that tie in?
Well, you know, if you marry someone, that's a very big event in your life. I think the human race. Whoa.
But this could be like the sacred marriage to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because maybe it's the union of the masculine and feminine within the one, and knowing that you are everything.
Yeah, I only called it a marriage this evening because it took my fancy to call it like a wedding. But maybe it's good to see it as a kind of wedding day.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Thank you.
So I've been working with this for about a year, but I've never put it out there on the internet or anything before. So.
It amazes me how you can remember all those numbers just off the top of your head.
Oh, well, you've got to know your 1 to 9 cubes.
Yeah, well, you do. You do. Michael, thank you for sharing that with us. It's fascinating. And, you know, if you're watching this, take from it whatever you will. Number 9.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, if you want to hear me talking about more numbers, I've got a university YouTube channel, the University of Michael Tyack on YouTube, and I'll probably be putting this little one up, this demonstration up on my YouTube channel soon.
Cool.
And that'll be another take on it, maybe a few different ideas. But all the people that I've explained this to so far, they all, you know, people seem to resonate with it,
yeah.
and no one's kind of like, you know, thrashed me down saying I'm a paranoid psychotic or something. But it's a basic fact that the numbers 1 to 9 are screaming 2025.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, and I think time is speeding up. I mean, from my own experience, it's like I've been in Glastonbury since the 5th of January, and I just don't know where that time has gone. It's just flown by.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, very, very weird.
It's very weird.
Very
well,
weird.
we'll all, whatever happens after 2025, maybe things will slow down again and we can go back to kind of farming the land in a leisurely manner.
That would be nice.
Mm.
That would be nice.
Without having to update our iPhones every 30 seconds.
Yeah. Get back to how civilizations used to talk to each other instead of like being there on the phone at the dinner table.
Yeah, well, we're certainly, being invaded by this idea of like artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's how we stand up to that as individuals, and how, the technology of our internal wiring and the evolution of ourselves is certainly matching the evolution of this AI kind of thing, which is poison, really, I think.
Yeah, and being very discerning, what we allow into our space.
Yeah, so exciting times. And also this month we've got, the 20th of the second, we've got these beautiful like rows of twos coming up. We've got another 2 dates. We've got the 20th of February and the 22nd of February. So don't forget to celebrate on those days, or at least acknowledge this is a kind of once in a lifetime. It happens once every 1,000 years, where we go in a date which will just have like the number 1. The last one happened in the year 1010. We're in 2020, and the next one won't be till 3030.
Yeah.
So,
but when we have these numbers that appear like in dates, what's the significance of that? How can we utilize those?
Well, just in a sense that this is a very unique day, and acknowledge it in any way that you see fit. Light a candle, sing a song, I don't know.
Yeah. Think about what you want for the rest of your life, and what you want to bring into your life.
Yeah, well, thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Hope you've enjoyed the demonstration by Michael, and thank you for joining me tonight.
Pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.